Hey everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review. And today's review is in association with MarvelousNews.com, your #1 news source for everything Marvel. And for today's review, we're going to be taking a look at the new S.H.Figuarts Captain America Avengers Age of Ultron figure from Tamashii Nations and Bandai. Now this figure comes packaged in a similar style packaging we're seeing with all the Avengers Age of Ultron figures from Tamashii Nations. As you can see here, I have the Iron Man and the Hulk figure along with Captain America. Now today we're going to look at Cap, and then I'll look at the other two figures over the course of this week. So very sleek, stylized packaging, very kind of compact. You've got the Captain America name off to the side. You've got Cap's shield on the window along with the Avengers logo. A little bio for the S.H.Figuarts, and then a look at the Captain America figure down below. On the back, we have again a look at the figure in multiple poses, showing off some of the features like being able to put the shield on his back and the articulation and option parts, and then a bunch of writing that I can't really read. Okay, so let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figure outside of the packaging. And I've got to say that Tamashii Nations has done a really nice job with the overall detail of this figure. This figure comes with a ton of little tiny accessories. So one thing I want to caution is be very careful when you're handling this figure, because it's got a lot of little pieces that you could easily lose. Now, there is an instruction sheet that comes with it that shows you how everything works, which is good because you're going to need it. The figure comes with 5 different pairs of hands, 2 different heads, multiple eyeballs, and then various handles and such for the shield. And then the shield itself is also an accessory for this figure, of course. I really like the detailing and the sculpting on this figure, and I think the paint applications are pretty solid as well. I really like the detailing, like on his belt here. You can see like the little stitch work to give it that added look for leather, and I like the belt buckle and the pouches on the side. I think that all comes off looking really good. I also like the sculpting detail on his chest and the star. So I think that came out looking really nice on the figure. And again, the straps around his shoulders for his shield, I think look good. Again, that added texture for that kind of leather look. He's got the little A's on his shoulder pads like we see in the movie, and he's got the A sculpted on his head with the wings on the side with gold, with silver metallic paint, and you've got some black mixed in. So I think that all looks really nice. Even like on the gloves, I really like, the sculpting with the padding on the gloves, and you've got the little silver metallic pieces to give it that added detail. So just really nice attention to detail overall with this figure. It's very much like a 6-inch version of a Hot Toys figure. Now I will say that the head sculpt, I think, does not really look like Chris Evans to me. I think they did, it doesn't really look bad, it just doesn't look like the actor. I would say it's about on par with Hasbro's Marvel Legends face sculpt for their Age of Ultron Captain America figure. Neither one I think looks bad, but also neither one really looks like Evans to me. And I like how they've gone with the darker blues on the costume for this S.H.Figuarts version as opposed to the lighter blues that you see on the Hasbro version. So I think that looks nice. For the shield, they've used a metallic paint, red, silver, and blue. So I think that looks good. And then on the back side, it's just all silver. And again, nice attention to detail on the shield. And I like the size of the shield. I think the shield that comes with the Hasbro Marvel Legends version is way too big. So I think this sizing of the shield on this figure is just right. One thing I will say I'm a little disappointed with this figure is that we did not get an alternate head without the mask on. Being that you see him in the movie a lot of times without the mask, I think it would have been really nice if we'd gotten a third head without the mask, just a Steve Rogers head, kind of like we saw with the Hasbro version. I definitely think that it's a little disappointing with a figure like this. We did not get that kind of head sculpt with this one. So now moving on to the accessories for this figure. As I said, there's a lot of little pieces, and so you want to be very careful. So we'll start off with the head. So the head just pops on with a ball joint, typical for a S.H.Figuarts type figure. Now this figure features the multiple eyes, which I don't know, it's a little excessive. There's not a huge difference between the eyes to me, but basically he's got a pair of eyes that look straight on. and that comes, those eyes are in the head that come on the figure with just the regular kind of facial expression for him. Then he comes with a second head that's kind of like he's like yelling. His mouth is open. And these kind of come with a pair of eyes that are looking to the right. Now the way the eye feature works is the head actually you can pop off the back part of the head, and this goes for both heads. And the back piece of the head is pretty much the same for both heads, so if you mix them up or something, you don't need to worry. But you'll see inside the head there's this yellow piece, and you just slide it out, and it's actually it's his eyeballs basically. And so you've got the two that come in the two different heads, and then they give you a third pair of eyeballs. And these, you can put these in any of the heads, so all three eyeballs work in either head. And so this one is more, his eyes are kind of pointed to the left side. So you've basically got a pair of eyes that are looking straight forward, a pair of eyes that look off to the right, and a pair of eyes that look off to the left. Okay, so as I mentioned, the figure comes with 5 different pairs of hands. So we've got just a pair of open hands. We've got a pair of closed-fisted hands. Then we just have a pair of semi-open hands. Then we have hands that are specifically for the shield. Like what they've done, if you have like the Figma Captain America figure from the first Avengers movie, or if you've seen my review of that one of the things that frustrated me the most about that figure was the straps and how the shield worked, because the straps would always come off on the shield, and he just didn't hold his shield very well. So this S.H.Figuarts figure has kind of done a nice job addressing that, and they've basically given you a pair of hands that have the shield handle sculpted in the hand. So you got one for the right if you want to have him holding it in his right hand, or if you want to have him holding it in his left hand. So basically you just put the hand in with that handle, and then the shield itself has got little holes that you just plug in, and so the shield definitely stays in nice and tight. Now they give you an extra bracket that you can plug in for the back part of his arm to give it extra support. You don't necessarily need to put that in there if you don't want to, but they've given you that for extra support. So he does hold the shield, this figure does hold his shield nice and tight. So another pair of hands that they've given you is a special pair of hands to actually like catch to pose the figure as if he's catching the shield. So these hands are kind of open, the fingers are open, but there's a little like peg on the palm of his hands. And again, they've given you one for his left hand and one for his right hand. However, whichever hand you want him catching the shield with. So what you do with this is you plug the hand in, and the hands are just little tiny ball joints. And then they've given you this little clear plastic piece. And so what you do is, again, you take the one end of the clear plastic piece that has the 2 pegs, and you just plug it into the shield. And then you take it, and you can see there's little clips that'll go around the figure's wrist. And then there's a hole in this clear plastic piece so that peg on the hand fits in the hole. And so once you plug it in, then it looks like he's catching the shield, like he's just thrown it and it's bouncing back to him and he's catching it. So another option they've incorporated with the shield is the ability to put the shield on his back. So once again, you need to take one of these little bracket pieces that they've included, and you just plug it into the back of the shield. This one has a peg that sticks out, has 2 pegs that stick in the shield, and then one that sticks out for you to plug into the figure's back. And so you just plug that into the shield. And when you're not using one of the attachments for the specific shield options, they give you basically just little plugs to cover up the holes, period. They give you 2 of these if you're basically don't want handles or anything like that on the shield. You can just plug up the holes. But for the purposes of putting the shield on his back, what you do is once you attach this piece to the shield, then you go to the figure and you've got to remove this little piece that's on his back, this little silver piece, and kind of helps if you have long fingernails, but you just take it off. It's a very tiny little piece, so this is something that's going to be very easy to lose, so you probably want to put it someplace safe in a Ziploc bag or something when you're not using it. But then you just take the shield and you plug it into this little hole on his back, and it looks like he's holding the shield on his back. So articulation on this figure is pretty good. The head is on a double ball joint type deal like we've seen with other S.H.Figuarts. So you've got the ball joint up here at the top of the neck that has some movability up and down, left and right, and then at the bottom of the neck itself you can move it up and down and left and right a bit. So I'll just pop the head back on. So he can turn his head good, and he's got a little bit of up and down movement with the head, and then you can kind of pivot the head to the left and to the right. Shoulders are attached with ball joints, and the joints themselves and the shoulders kind of extend out from the body, giving you some extra movement, and then the shoulder pads have some articulation as well. So he's got pretty good rotation there at the arm, and he can get his arm all the way out. He's got the bicep swivel. He's got a double hinged elbow, so he can bend his elbow about that much. Now, one thing I want to note is he's got these little pads on his elbows that are removable, so they can pop off from time to time, and they're very tiny. So again, another little tiny piece that can be easy to lose on the figure, so just be careful. Hands are attached with your standard ball hinge joints. Now he's got the rotation there, and then the hinges, he's got the up and down movement, and you can turn the ball joints in there on the wrists, so you can basically have his hand go left to right or up or down, however you want. He's got the midsection joint, so he's got rotation. That's again attached with the ball joint, so he's got good rotation there. He's got some crunch. He can look up pretty good. Now when you have him look up, you do get that kind of little bit of a gap between the lower body and the upper body. He's got the waist swivel, and then he's got the joints, the ball joints at the legs, and again they kind of come away from the body a little bit like the shoulders, so that gives you some extra movement. So he can get his legs forward good, he can get his leg out and back good. He's got the rotation there at the upper thigh. He's got the double jointed knee, and again those the knees, basically knee pads, come off. Then he doesn't have any kind of boot cuff swivel. He's got good up and down movement with the feet. He's got some pivot to the left and the right, and he can swivel there at the ankle. And then he's got toe articulation, so he can bend his toes up. And then no peg holes on the bottom of the feet. Okay, so this figure stands just a little bit over 6 inches tall. I think the overall scale for it is pretty good. It seems to fit in pretty good with the Hasbro Marvel Legend figures. It's a little bit shorter maybe than the Avengers Age of Ultron Captain America figure from Hasbro, but for the most part they're pretty close in the same size. And then here he is next to the Iron Man figure, and you can see Iron Man's a bit taller. So again, I think the scale works pretty good with these two lines. Just for one more comparison, here's the Build-A-Figure, the Ultron Prime Build-A-Figure, and you can see Ultron is definitely much taller than Cap. Now, here's the Figma Captain America figure from the first Avengers movie, and you can see that the S.H.Figuarts is definitely taller than the Figma figure. I will say this is the S.H.Figuarts Iron Patriot figure from their Iron Man 3 line, and I would say that Iron Patriot is a bit short. Captain America is actually a little bit taller than Iron Patriot. I've not yet opened up my S.H.Figuarts Iron Man Mark 43, so I am hoping that that figure is a little bit taller than this Iron Patriot. Otherwise, these figures won't be in very good scale with one another. So that's my review. Overall, I really like this figure. This is probably my favorite movie Captain America figure to date, at least in 6-inch form. I like the detailing with the sculpting. I like the paint applications. I like the accessories. I like how they've worked the shield so you can put it on his back, and I like how, you know, you can have it so he's like catching the shield or throwing it, and how they've secured it on his wrist, unlike the Figma version, which really annoyed the crap out of me. So I think this is overall a very nice looking figure. Now, is it really worth the extra money that you have to pay? It is an import figure, so it is going to cost you between $60 and $70 in that neighborhood. So is it worth paying that much more over, say, a $20 Marvel Legends figure? For me, being a huge Captain America fan, I would say yes. Or if you're just really into the S.H.Figuarts type figures, then definitely I would say yes. Otherwise, I think, you know, you would probably be pretty content with just the $20 Marvel Legends version. But definitely I think this is a nice figure. It is out now, so you can pick it up anywhere that sells imported figures like this. Big Bad Toy Store I think is sold out, so you probably won't be able to get it there, but other online retailers that carry S.H.Figuarts may have it, or you can check Amazon, someplace like that. We'll have a full gallery of images up at marvelousnews.com. There'll be a link in the description below. We'll be checking out the S.H.Figuarts Iron Man figure and the Hulk figure in the next few days, so be sure to tune in for that. And as always, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And until next time, I'll catch you later.